Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys Nation, today we're diving into a story that's been shaking the NFL and more specifically the Dallas Cowboys universe. It's a story filled with intrigue, controversy, and a lot of questions about the leadership of one of the most polarizing figures in football, Jerry Jones. If you've been following the Cowboys closely, you know how much Jerry's personality, decisions, and sometimes controversial moves impact the team's future. But this time, it's not just about a game or a play, it's about a potential acquisition, a talented player named George Pickens, and how Jerry Jones's influence might have played a pivotal role in derailing what could have been a game-changing addition to Dallas's roster. Now, before we get into all the juicy details, I want to remind you, this story isn't just about one player or one owner. It's about the broader implications for the Cowboys' upcoming season, their strategy in the free agency market, and what this controversy reveals about the current state of the team's leadership. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear is an in-depth analysis that will make you see this whole situation in a new light. We're going to explore every angle, every rumor, every stat, and every possible consequence of what's happening right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss a second of this. Let's start with the core of the story. Jerry Jones, the owner and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, has once again found himself embroiled in controversy. Known for his flamboyant personality, aggressive negotiating style, and sometimes controversial decisions, Jones has long been a figure who commands attention in the NFL. But this time, it's not just about his usual bravado, it's about how his actions or perceived interference may have impacted the team's chances to sign George Pickens, a highly promising wide receiver from the University of Georgia. Pickens, as many of you know, has been one of the most talked about prospects in this year's draft class. His combination of size, speed, and route-running ability makes him a potential game-changer at the NFL level. During his college career, he showcased remarkable athleticism, hauling in over 900 yards in his final season with the Bulldogs, despite battling injuries. His highlight reels are filled with acrobatic catches, explosive plays, and a knack for making big moments happen. It's no surprise that multiple NFL teams, including the Cowboys, were interested in bringing him on board. But here's where the story gets complex. Negotiations with Pickens' representatives reportedly hit a snag, and it's not hard to connect the dots when you hear whispers about Jerry Jones's role. Rumors suggest that Jones's aggressive approach, possibly driven by his desire to control the negotiations or secure the player on his terms, may have backfired. Sources close to the situation indicate that Jones's demands or initial offers were seen as excessive or inflexible, causing the players' camp to walk away or lose interest. This has led to an ongoing debate among fans and analysts. Was Jones's interference the reason Pickens is no longer a potential Dallas Cowboy, or was it just bad timing and circumstances? Let's analyze the implications of this story in much more detail. First, it's essential to understand how critical this signing could have been for Dallas. The Cowboys, coming off a solid, yet somewhat inconsistent 2023 season, are clearly looking to strengthen their offense. Dak Prescott has shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency remains a concern, especially when it comes to supporting cast. A dynamic receiver like Pickens could have been a perfect complement to CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, providing that deep threat and red zone target that Dallas has lacked at times. The potential chemistry between Prescott and Pickens could have elevated the entire passing attack, making them a more unpredictable and dangerous offense. Statistically speaking, Pickens' college numbers are impressive enough to warrant serious consideration. Over his college career, he accumulated over 700 receiving yards and scored 14 touchdowns in just 2 seasons. His yards per reception hovered around 16 yards, indicating his ability to stretch the field. His athletic testing at the NFL Combine was also noteworthy, with a 40-yard dash around 4.47 seconds, a vertical leap of 40 inches, and impressive agility drills. All of this makes him a top-tier prospect in this draft class, and many scouts compared him to some of the league's best wide receivers, emphasizing his potential ceiling. Now, what does Jerry Jones's involvement tell us about the current leadership style in Dallas? For years, Jones has been known for his hands-on approach, often stepping into negotiations and decisions that many believe should be left to football operations. This approach has led to both success and controversy. For example, his willingness to spend big in free agency has brought in stars like DeMarcus Lawrence and Odell Beckham Jr., but it has also resulted in high-profile missteps, like overspending on aging veterans or misjudging certain prospects. In the case of Pickens, the key question is whether Jones's desire to exert control over the negotiations hindered a mutually beneficial deal, or whether his aggressive stance was necessary to secure a premium talent. Critics argue that Jones's interference might have created a deadlock, causing the players' camp to withdraw or seek other options. Supporters, however, might say that Jones was simply exercising his right as owner to be involved, and that this is part of the business of football. This controversy also highlights the broader strategy of the Cowboys this offseason. Are they truly prioritizing building a balanced, talented roster? Or are they still caught in the mindset of being a team that relies heavily on star power and big-name signings? The fact that negotiations with Pickens fell apart might suggest that Dallas is struggling to find that middle ground, balancing aggressive pursuit of talent with respectful negotiations. It raises the question, is this a sign that Dallas needs a more streamlined, football-focused leadership structure? Or is this just typical Cowboys drama that will blow over? From a broader perspective, this situation is emblematic of the challenges faced by NFL teams in the free agency era. The competition is fierce, and every team is vying to secure the best talents before they sign elsewhere. The pressure to sign a player like Pickens, who could potentially transform an offense, is immense. Yet the process is complicated by negotiations, personalities, and strategic priorities. In this case, Jerry Jones's reputation for being a tough negotiator may have worked against him, or at least against Dallas's chances of landing Pickens. So how does this affect the Cowboys' prospects for the upcoming season? Well, it's a mixed bag. On one hand, missing out on a player like Pickens could be a setback, especially if he develops into the star many project him to become. On the other hand, Dallas has a solid core with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks, and they've shown that they can compete at a high level. Their defense, led by Micah Parsons, remains formidable. But the reality is, every missed opportunity in free agency can ripple into the regular season, affecting their ability to contend in a competitive NFC. Looking at their recent history, the Cowboys have a pattern of both successful and controversial moves. They reached the playoffs in 2022 and 2023, but haven't gone deep into the postseason. Their roster has often been praised, yet also criticized for gaps in talent or depth at certain positions. The addition of a player like Pickens could have been a missing piece, especially for their passing game. Now, with negotiations reportedly falling apart, questions arise about whether Dallas's management is capable of making strategic, cohesive decisions that maximize their talent and potential. It's also worth comparing Dallas's approach to some of their NFC rivals. Teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers have been praised for their strategic drafting, shrewd free agency signings, and cohesive team-building philosophies. The Eagles, for example, have shown how a balanced approach, combined with smart negotiations and development, can lead to sustained success. Meanwhile, the 49ers have built a roster that emphasizes both star power and depth through a combination of drafting and shrewd signings. In this context, the Cowboys' inability to close the Pickens deal might be interpreted as a sign that they need to reevaluate their approach to negotiations and team building. Is Jerry Jones's aggressive style still the best way forward? Or should the team consider adopting a more collaborative, football-focused approach? These are questions that fans and analysts are debating in real time as the off-season buzz continues. Now, what about the future? Well, the Cowboys still have plenty of options. They could pivot to other free agents, draft a receiver in the upcoming NFL draft, or look for trade opportunities to bolster their receiving core. But the loss of Pickens, considering his potential, is a blow that could resonate through the season. It's a reminder that in the NFL, every decision counts. And the difference between a good team and a great one often hinges on small, strategic moves made at the right time. Looking ahead, the Cowboys' coaching staff, led by head coach Mike McCarthy, will have to adapt and optimize what they already have. Dak Prescott's performance will be crucial, and the development of CeeDee Lamb in the absence of Pickens could be a key storyline. Moreover, the team's offensive scheme might need to adjust to compensate for this missed opportunity, perhaps emphasizing shorter, more precise routes or utilizing tight ends more effectively. And let's not forget the ripple effects. How does this impact team chemistry, locker room morale, and the overall mindset? Sometimes, a missed opportunity in free agency can serve as motivation, fueling the team's determination to succeed despite setbacks. Other times, it can create frustration or doubts about the team's management. It's a delicate balance, and the Cowboys will need to rally around their existing core to keep their playoff hopes alive. As we look at the upcoming schedule and their division rivals, it's clear that every game will be critical. The NFC East remains fiercely competitive, with teams like the Eagles and Giants continually improving. The Cowboys' ability to adapt and overcome this setback could determine whether they make a deep playoff run or fall short once again. And remember, the NFL is a league that often rewards resilience and strategic thinking, so how Dallas responds in the coming weeks will be telling. Now, I want to take a moment to compare this situation with other recent NFL stories. We've seen how ownership influence can sometimes help or hinder a team's progress. For example, when a team's owner gets involved in personnel decisions, it often leads to controversy and internal conflict. Sometimes it results in short-term gains, but more often than not, it hampers long-term development. The The Cowboys' case with Pickens might become a textbook example of this dynamic if the story continues to unfold negatively. Yet, it's also important to acknowledge Jerry Jones's track record. The man has built one of the most iconic franchises in NFL history, and his eye for talent has brought multiple championships in the past. Still, times change, and so do the strategies needed to succeed in today's NFL. The league's emphasis on speed, athleticism, and versatility demands a nuanced, collaborative approach, something that's sometimes challenging when dealing with a figure as commanding and individualistic as Jones. Looking ahead, it's fascinating to imagine what this means for the team's draft strategy. Will Dallas focus on drafting a receiver early? Could they try to trade for a proven veteran? Or will they double down on developing their existing personnel and trust their coaching staff to maximize what they have? The upcoming draft will be crucial, and the decisions made there could either compensate for or exacerbate the loss of a player like Pickens. And don't forget, this controversy feeds into a larger narrative about the Cowboys' identity. Are they a team that relies on star power and bold moves, or are they shifting toward a more measured, strategic approach? The answer to that question will shape not only their season, but also their long-term future. Fans are eager to see if the management's focus is on building a cohesive, sustainable team, or if they're still chasing the quick fix with high-profile signings and bold negotiations. In the end, this whole saga serves as a vivid reminder that football is about more than just X's and O's. It's about personalities, leadership styles, negotiation tactics, and the subtle art of balancing risk and reward. Jerry Jones's role in this story underscores how powerful and influential a team owner can be, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. The next few weeks will reveal whether Dallas's approach will lead to a successful season or if the missed opportunity with Pickens will be a costly lesson. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want you to think, what does this mean for the Cowboys? How will this influence their strategy moving forward? And what do you think about Jerry Jones's style? Does it serve the team well, or is it time for change? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. This is a story that's far from over, and I'll be right here keeping you updated on every twist and turn. Remember, Cowboys Nation, the NFL offseason is a roller coaster. Every move, every decision, every controversy shapes the story of this franchise. And right now, the story of the potential Pickens signing and its fallout is one of the most talked about chapters so far. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and let's see what's next for the Dallas Cowboys. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and IT makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. Do you think Jerry Jones's interference was justified? Are you worried about what this means for the upcoming season? Or do you believe the team still has what it takes to contend? I'm eager to read what you think. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. Until then, keep the faith and let's see where this wild ride takes us.